Rules of Misogyny. First rule of misogyny. Women are responsible for what men do.
Y'all gotta see this shit. I just woke up and I pissed myself off on Twitter, so I'm gonna piss y'all off too. So hopefully by now you've seen the video of this woman defending herself from an attacker at her own apartment complex.
Whenever he was at the door, I buzzed him in and he came inside. My thought process was it was just another dude coming in to work out, so I didn't think of anything out of that.
Now I definitely don't think the guidelines are gonna let me show you the rest of the video, but he tries to attack her and she gets away. She gets away from him, he gives up and she runs outside. She's fine. But what's not fine are the replies to that video. So he couldn't let himself into a private gym area. He's not dressed in gym workout attire. Why the hell did you even open the door? Not victim blaming at all, just curious. You are victim blaming though, you are. Learning lesson here for females, if someone doesn't have an entry card, they don't get in. Stop being nice. Remember that. Remember how he said stop being nice. Stop assuming people are nice and stop profiling people when the situation demands it, like this one. So you want women to stop being nice. Okay, so that plays perfectly into what this person's point is. When women are precautious, it's not all men are dangerous. Why did you treat him that way? But when something actually happens, it's why did you trust him? Why weren't you precautious? Literally, because every other gym video where it's like women like kind of scared of a man, they're like, oh, he's not even doing anything. Like, you're just recording him. Like, you're the actual bad person here. Blah, blah, blah. Not all men. But when something actually happens, then you're like, you should have just been precautious. You should have watched him out. You should have been looking at him. What? Women, I'm terrified for you.
We judge them for cheating, but yet we're not virgins. Yet we have open Instagram accounts.
But yet, even if we weren't those things, they would still cheat, because if someone's gonna cheat on you, they're not doing it because you're not a virgin or because of your Instagram account. It's this idea that women are in control of men's actions. Don't wear that outfit, that's gonna make him want to do things to you. Don't post those photos on Instagram because then guys are gonna slide into your DM. Don't have sex with other people before you've met your future husband, because then that's going to cause him to cheat on you. When did we become responsible for men's actions that they are choosing to do?
Second rule of misogyny. Women's
I am treated like unfairly by the system versus a lot of the things women are saying. It's also America and the system as well, but a lot of it is like harm from men.
How and where?
How and where what?
Where's this harm from men coming from?
Okay, it started when I was young. I'm not going to talk too long. I was 16, got a bottle thrown at me because I told a boy no. It started when I was in a club. A boy touched me. I said no. He kept touching me. It got to the point he got violent. It gets to the point that the only reason why a man decided to stop touching me in the bookstore I talked about earlier is because he realized my husband was not too far away. And he said, sorry, bro. Never said sorry to me. That's why. And that's off the top of my head. This is why I get upset, because I'm like, I'm here to talk about like how you feel, but when you just dismiss the fact that women actually have experiences, that's when it seems like it's about more than your rights. It seems like it's about your ego. And that's where I get pissed off. Because how dare you tell another human being that their experiences, what they're telling you right in front of your face, is not valid.
Third rule of misogyny. Women speaking for themselves are exclusionary and selfish.
Okay, so a 14-year-old boy gave a girl at school a Valentine and asked her to be his Valentine, and she apparently said no in front of some people. So the next day, the entire school rallied around him, gave him a poster, everybody gave him a Valentine to make him feel better. She had every fucking right to say no. Every fucking right. So at 14, what we've taught her is that if you say no, the whole school is going to know, and everybody's going to support him. And what we've taught him is that she really should have said yes. Fuck that principle.
Fourth rule of misogyny. Women's opinions are violence against men. Thus, male violence against women is justified. Fifth rule of misogyny. Women and feminism must be useful to men or they are worthless.
Kill all men. And that's enough for me not to be a feminist.
Good morning, everyone. Ignore my black eye. I got hit in the face at practice yesterday. Yesterday, I posted this video about conditional allyship, and I had a few people ask me why feminism is so demonized and why so many people hate on it. This video that I'm stitching is actually a really perfect example as to why a lot of men specifically hate on feminism. I asked him a very simple yes or no question. Have you read any feminist literature? Are you familiar with all the waves of feminism? Have you taken the time to study and analyze it and learn it? His response was, well, some feminists said kill all men and that hurt my feelings, so that's enough for me to not be a feminist. But how can you disagree with something you don't know anything about? Feminism is so complex, it's multifaceted, and depending on the person you're talking to, it's intersectional. It's not something you can just type into Google and understand completely within 5 minutes. So for all the men like that who don't really know much about feminism, before you decide to hate on it, maybe take the time to learn and understand what it actually is that you're hating on. Follow Mr. VDK, my favorite male feminist on this app. He's so knowledgeable on this topic and you're gonna learn a lot.
Sixth rule of misogyny. Women who go around being female at men by menstruating and breastfeeding babies deserve punishment.
I really don't get the reason that so many people are upset at the idea that trans women could have period-like symptoms. Trans women who medically transition have estrogen in their systems, they grow breasts, their skin gets softer, there's a whole bunch of things that happen. Why wouldn't having period-like symptoms be one of those things? Trans women are not saying that we have uteruses and that we bleed from our uteruses. Some trans women are saying, I get period-like symptoms being on estrogen. That doesn't take anything away from anybody else.
Hi, I'm Mama Rose. I am a transgendered woman. I go by she, her, they, them pronouns. And I can tell you right now, my period I experience every month is very real, very valid, and very painful.
Hi, Mama Rose. This is not meant to be hate. I just wanted to educate, but I'm sure you know. A period is an actual shedding of the uterus, shedding of the lining of the uterus. So I'm not sure what you're experiencing in terms of pain. I am not educated in hormones, that type of thing, but it definitely is not a period. Yeah, because a period is shedding of the lining of the uterus.
Seventh rule of misogyny. Women should always be grateful to men for everything.
Y'all really should appreciate the fuck out of a man who's trying. Because nowadays, men really don't give a fuck. So if your man is trying, appreciate him. You feel me?
Eighth rule of misogyny. Men are whatever men say they are, and women are whatever men say they are.
I don't have male privilege. Trans femmes like me, regardless of what we were assigned at birth or how society...
Do I need to go there?
I agree with what the first person said. Why? Because transgender women, even prior to transitioning, most of us never had male privilege. Because being feminine or displaying any sort of effeminate behavior, it actually puts you in a very dangerous place where you get to be judged, you get to be ridiculed, you even become more subjected to all types of assaults. Male privilege gets stripped off of you the moment you are no longer presenting as what they consider stereotypically male.
Being a woman isn't all getting dressed up and doing your makeup. You're right, it's a lot of things. It's the grooves in between your fingers from walking home at night clutching your keys. It's knowing you can always ask someone for a hair tie and they'll have one on their wrist waiting for you. It's the pure joy of realizing your dress has pockets, even though this one doesn't. It's always going to the bathroom in a pack. It's playing as the female character in video games and still kicking ass. Pulling someone's hair out of the way to zip their dress or clasp their bra. It's never being afraid to use emojis, especially the pink ones. It's knowing how to tie a tie so you can always make sure your date looks handsome. It's all the little razor bumps on your legs and your arms and your face and the bottom of your stomach. It's taking off your shoes halfway through the night. It's creating literal works of art on our nails and our eyelids. It's dropping everything to help each other if we see someone else crying in public. I understand womanhood because I am a woman. And while I didn't have my first period in middle school, you don't have to fold your genitals up and put them inside yourself every day. We all have different experiences of what womanhood is, and it doesn't make any of us any less valid. So stop pretending that trans women don't understand what it's like to be real women. We all go through triumphs and tribulations as women every single day, and tearing each other down is just going to make it harder for all of us in the long run.
Ninth rule of misogyny. Men always know the real reasons for everything women do and say.
guys are always the most utterly mid-cis women who hate trans women. I don't get it. Is it jealousy? Is it because the trans women serve more cunt than you? What is it? Please explain.
10th rule of misogyny. The worst thing about male violence is that it makes men look bad.
Hi, I specifically studied gender-based trauma and I have 2 relevant degrees from Harvard on this. Let's talk about men who say, not all men. This behavior comes from 3 sources. First, this is a male pick-me behavior. Oh, I understand there are men out there who are acting in abusive ways, but I'm not one of them. I'm one of the good guys. That's a total delusion, by the way. In a patriarchy, everyone has internalized misogyny, sexism, and oppressive ways to treat women. That's why we all gotta unlearn patriarchal ways of behaving. Number 2, the need to control women's voices. Notice how they are tone policing women far more than they're mad at those men who are abusing, harassing, and raping women, who are giving rest of the men a bad name. Number 3, male superiority complex. This would relate to the male pick-me behavior. Oh, I understand there will be awful men out there like who will abuse and rape and harass you and oppress you, but I'm not one of them. If you depend on me to protect you from male violence, you'll be good. That instills in women a fear of independence, that the real solution to the male violence is another man. That's not true, by the way.
11th rule of misogyny. Whatever women suffer from, it is worse when it happens to men.
Stop giving ugly men a chance.
What do you think would happen if a guy made the same video?
They do, and they have been since the beginning of time. They've been calling women low value and comparing them to used cars every time they've had access to a microphone. But it feels uncomfortable to hear it about yourself because it hasn't historically been done. You're not used to seeing men judged solely on their physical appearance instead of who they are as a person. And now you're mad that they're being lumped together by one characteristic and considered undesirable. But you sat idly by while they did that to almost every category of women throughout history. And that led to women believing that they were as worthless as society made them feel. And now they realize that they deserve more, but you don't like that when it's done at a man's expense. You don't want people telling women to raise their standards, but you were fine when they were telling them to lower them because of their age, weight, or previous sexual history. And I'm not saying that I support anyone being called ugly, but I do find it ironic that you only want to talk about fairness once the tables have turned. And that tells me that you don't care about this being done to people. You care about it being done to you.
12th rule of misogyny. Women's ability to recognize male behavior patterns is misandry.
I've noticed men on TikTok, their favorite little jab for me, this is how they get me where it hurts. They say, you're a sexist. You're biased against men. And the funny thing is yeah, you're my biggest natural predator. If anything's going to happen to me, if somebody's gonna kill me, it's more likely that it's a man than anything else. And you're why are you sexist? Why not just go up to a deer and be I've noticed that you're really biased against the guys in camo hiding in the bushes. You have this aversion to them. It's very close-minded and weird. Not all men are a threat to me. I'm not afraid of all of you. I don't think you're all going to kill me. Those men I'm not afraid of, by the way, the good ones, those are the ones who are not in my comment section right now typing to remind me that good ones exist. Besides the statistical stuff, you haven't really earned my respect. Your legacy as a population is not great. You love to remind us you built every institution that makes up our society. And I'm looking around and I'm not that impressed. I feel the comments already. It's you guys never took history class. You didn't help us build society. It's not like women helped. You didn't let us, babe. Their favorite thing to say in the comments is, well, if all the men are gone, let's see how you guys maintain the sewer systems or open a jar of pickles. Is that all you think you're good for? Is manual labor? We could figure it out if we needed to without you, and many of us have. Many women do those jobs, and if you were all gone, we'd just pick them up and do them. But the fact that your first thought is who's gonna deal with the plumbing? Is that all you think you really have to offer? Let's review, okay? You built most of the institutions and the systems that are now crumbling around me. You pose a greater threat to me than anything in the world. You think your God-given right is to run society. You think that's your God-given job. And you're fumbling the job so bad. And when we criticize you for it, you can't even be a good sport. You can't laugh at yourselves. You can't admit fault. The saving grace of people who fuck up a lot, everyone knows, is that they can be self-aware and they can laugh at themselves and take a joke. So it makes most of you, on top of all this shit, insufferable to hang out with. And then all the good stuff that you've contributed to the world, you men, you're so cocky about it when there's no proof that we wouldn't have done it better if we were allowed. In conclusion, of course I am sexist. It is the logical thing to be after evaluating the evidence.
13th rule of misogyny. Angry women are crazy. Angry men have trouble expressing themselves.
What is up, private Snapchat story? Today there's this girl in red hair crying. That's a massive L for her. Make sure to subscribe.
Off, you don't know me. How dare you? How dare you?
No, but it's my private story.
I don't care how dare you come up to me and say that.
Yeah, but it's my private story. Guys, she got triggered. I think she's a carrot.
Let's talk about the Tubi commercial. As I'm sure many of you are aware, during the Super Bowl, Tubi aired a 15-second commercial where it appeared that the commercial break was over and the Super Bowl resumed, only to exit out and open the Tubi app. Since Sunday, I've heard multiple stories of fathers screaming at their children, saying it's their fault that the channel was changed, bartenders getting drinks thrown at their face, and boyfriends punching holes in their wall, just to name a few. Several studies have shown that there is a direct correlation between sporting events and an increase in domestic violence reports. For example, in England, when their national team loses, there is a 38% increase, and when they win, there's a 26% increase. A study conducted in Alberta, Canada, showed that the domestic violence hotline had a 15% increase in calls during major sporting events. And in the US, looking at 900 NFL games over 11 years, there was a 10% increase in cities where their local team lost. It's also very important to note that nearly half of all domestic violence goes unreported. The Tubi Super Bowl commercial was intended to be a joke, but it caused violence all over the country for those 15 seconds that it aired. And I'm not saying that Tubi is to blame, but everyone that has lived in a house with an angry man knows that a 15-second joke is all it takes.
14th rule of misogyny. Women have all the rights they need, the right to remain silent.
But I want a nice, nurturing, submissive wife who wants to raise children and is embracing her feminine nature. And that's almost none of the women now. So it's not misogynistic that I don't want to with the masculine ass annoying on the street. I just want a good woman who embraces that she's a woman. And none of these in New York do anymore. They get to be a man and a woman at the same time.
15th rule of misogyny. Men are the default human. Women are strange, subhuman others.
Can cause me to become like kind of hormonal, emotional, like 3 to 4 days out of the month. So watch out. And this is gonna sound shocking, but I wish I could get a period.
And I've been carrying around tampons and pads for the past 2 months, but
and I just picked up some tampons and
I thought the letters stood for small, medium, and large based on the size of your Barbie pouch.
That's what she said.
I haven't got my period yet, okay? I'm late. And
how long does it take to get to this?
16th rule of misogyny. Everyone owns and controls women's bodies except the women themselves.
I want to start this off by making something very clear. I am not crying out of weakness. I'm crying because I am fucking angry. And if you don't believe the thing that I am about to tell you in this video, don't worry, I recorded it. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Tara. I've been sick my entire life. I've got I have a genetic condition. It's very rare. I have an autoimmune disorder. I get these cluster headaches. They also call them, unaliving headaches because the pain is so severe that people actually, choose not to be here anymore as a result. And I get it. I've been there. I was very close. I started getting these headaches again. I don't know what triggers it, but I went to the neurologist, and this is not a religious hospital, okay? And I live in New York, where, I thought maybe I'd be a little bit safer in New York, but nope. I go in there to try to get help with my headaches. And the doctor tells me that, really, because I've had allergic reactions to the other options, there are options that are very, successful treatments, but because I'm of childbearing age, he won't prescribe them. I can't get them. And I said, well, I'm not having kids. I've got Ehlers-Danlos. I wouldn't pass this on to anybody. This is not a life anyway. I'm in pain every single day. I wouldn't do that to someone. And he said as long as I am of childbearing age, regardless of sexual partner, regardless of birth control method, regardless of any of that, I can't take the treatments because there's a possibility I could get pregnant. And I said, well, what if I don't have sex? What if I get a partner with a vasectomy? It doesn't matter because I could get fucking and I could have the baby and I need to prioritize that. And those medicines cause birth defects. And I said, well, I'm already on a medication that causes severe birth defects. And he said, so what would you do if you got pregnant? I said, well, I would have no choice because, like, the medicine I'm on causes complications with the pregnancy and, you know, I could literally die based on the medication I'm already on. And he looked me dead in the eye and he said, well, that's something you need to think about. And I said, I don't understand. Like, we're really going to prioritize the life of the hypothetical situation over my pain. I'm in pain every day. I can't live like this. And this is what I was talking about to everyone who was like, well, it's not going to affect you. This is about saving children. No, it's not. And now I can't even get help. How am I going to live like this? I suffer every day. And I even said if I get my tubes tied, is it an option? And he said that's not 100% effective. I'm probably gonna run out of time, so we're gonna make a part 2 with the. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really trying here, but. I can't believe this is the country I live in, the planet I live on. I can't. How is this not malpractice? Side note, he told me that any sexual partner I had would have to come in and give authorization and say, it's okay for me to take this medicine. That could cause a birth defect, maybe. God, I hate having a uterus.
17th rule of misogyny. Men are better at performing femininity than women are because they invented it and it gives them a boner.
One of the most surprising things about the transphobia that I've been experiencing as an out and proud queer trans woman on TikTok has been realizing just how many women there are who are assigned female at birth who really think that my existence is a mockery and an insult to them. But I wonder if it could be that they're jealous in some way. They didn't choose to be women. Being a woman is hard. Having less privilege than men in a patriarchal society is unfair. To see somebody choose to move from a position of greater privilege to a position of less privilege as a trans woman, and to be doing that with so much joy and to take so much pleasure in femininity that they didn't choose and that maybe felt imposed or forced on them. I could see that being hard. I don't know. Just trying to figure this out, this transphobia. Let me know what you think.
Well, it's all about the lipstick.
I just want to be a Barbie. Like, I just want to be beautiful and put on a shelf and just, like, looked at. Like, I am posable in everything.
Okay, guys, I'm getting bimbo-fied today.